Hi, my name is Jocelyn Neal, and this is our 12th session in our Melodic Dictation workshop series. Welcome back. Today, we are going to focus on raised scale degree 5 in a major key. We are also going to do a complete warm-up using both our diatonic and our chromatic pitch patterns. And then at the end of our workshop, we will do a full melodic dictation as always. Now, if you haven't done workshops 1 through 11, I recommend you jump over and do those first, then come back and join us here. As always, you'll need to be somewhere you can sing out loud, you'll need some staff paper, and you'll need a pencil. And if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please reach over and do that. Now let's dive in and get warmed up. Remember that the goal of our warm-ups is to create a rock-solid, super reliable scale degree ladder in our heads so that we can map any melody that we hear or any melody that we need to sing onto that scale degree ladder. We'll solfege a scale. Here's our key. 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And sing our intervals. 3, 4. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave, minor second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, minor seventh, perfect octave, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major second, major third, perfect fourth. And let's sing our scale in thirds. 3, 4. Do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, la, so, ti, la, do, ti, re, do. Do, la, ti, so, la, fa, so, mi, fa, re, mi, do, re, ti, do. And we are going to run our all interval pattern. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, re, do, mi, do, fa, do, so, do, la, do, ti, do, re, mi, re, fa, re, so, re, la, re, ti, re, do, mi, fa, mi, so, mi, la, mi, ti, mi, do, re, do, fa, so, fa, la, fa, ti, fa, do, fa, re, do, so, la, so, ti, so, do, so, fa, so, re, do, la, ti, la, do, la, so, la, fa, la, mi, la, re, do, ti, la, ti, so, ti, fa, ti, mi, re, do, ti, do, la, do, so, do, fa, do, mi, re, do. And now let's tonicize in the same key. 3, 4. Do, mi, so, fa, mi, la, so, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, so, mi, do. Now let's change keys and do our second tonicization pattern. Here's our new key. And notice that we are in 6/8. Do, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, re, so, mi, re, do, ti, la, fa, re, la, ti, so, mi, re, do. And let's do our tricky leaps pattern in that same key. Still in 6/8. Do, fa, mi, re, la, so, fa, re, let's move into our chromatic warm-ups, and we will do our chromatic lower neighbor pattern. Same key. 3, 4. Do, re, di, re, mi, fa, so, fi, so, la, si, la, ti, li, ti, do. Do, ti, li, ti, la, si, la, so, fi, so, fa, mi, re, di, re, do. Now let's do our second chromatic pattern warm-up. Same key. This one's in 4/4. Do, re, mi, fa, fi, so, si, la, ti, do, ti, la, fi, so, fa, re, mi, re, do. And we have a chromatic arpeggiation warm-up today. Same key. This one is in 6/8. Do, mi, so, la, fa, re, mi, fi, so, ti, do, la, fa, so, si, la, do, la, so, do, ti, do, re, do, te, la, do, fa, mi, re, fa, ti, do. Let's talk a little bit about raised scale degree 5 in a major key. As you know, when we are working in a major key, there are a bunch of different chromatically altered scale degrees we might encounter. We could encounter raised scale degree 1, which is the syllable D, raised scale degree 2, which is the syllable re, raised scale degree 4, which is the syllable fi, raised scale degree 5, which is the syllable si, and raised scale degree 6, which is the syllable li. We could also encounter lowered scale degree 7, or te. Today, we're really focusing on that raised scale degree 5, which is a half step below scale degree 6, and which tends to resolve up into scale degree 6. There are a few different contexts in which we might find raised scale degree 5. The most common of these are as chromatic passing motion or as a lower neighbor to scale degree 6. Let's listen to those. Here's a key. As chromatic passing motion, we would hear do, re, mi, fa, so, si, la. As lower neighbor motion, from do, ti, la, we would hear la, si, la. There are two other less common contexts in which we might encounter scale degree raised 5. One of those is in a wraparound pattern where we come from scale degree 7, jump down to raised scale degree 5, and resolve up into 6. Do, ti, si, la. Listen again. The other would be arpeggiating up from scale degree 3. This would be a case such as do, re, mi, si, la, mi, si, la. And again, those last two are far less common. We're more likely to encounter raised scale degree 5 either as chromatic passing motion or as a lower chromatic neighbor to scale degree 6. Let's do some one-bar transcriptions to practice hearing raised scale degree 5 in context. Grab some staff paper. We will be in the key of A flat major, and we will be working in 6/8. In each case, the first pitch is given for you, and you will hear exactly one bar of music. Make sure you are listening for both pitch and rhythm, and I recommend you use your shorthand notation techniques to help you work in real time. Here's our key. Here's your starting pitch. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4 begins on scale degree 3. Here's tonic. Here's scale degree 3. Do, re, mi. That's your first note. Number 5 begins on scale degree 5. Here's tonic. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Here's your first note. Number 6 also begins on scale degree 5. Here's tonic. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Here's your first note. Now let's take a look at your answers. In number 1, we had chromatic passing motion. In number 2, we had lower neighbor motion. Number 3 was also chromatic passing motion. Number 4 was also chromatic motion. Number 5 had an uncommon pattern. This is a wraparound pattern where scale degree 7 jumps down to raised scale degree 5. Let's sing that one. Here's scale degree 5, 4, 5, 6. So, do, ti, si, la, so, mi. Number 6 used an arpeggiation from scale degree 3 up to raise scale degree 5. Let's sing that one. Here's scale degree 5, 4, 5, 6. So, mi, si, la, ti, do. Now finally, take a look at number 1 and number 5. In both of these cases, we had a raised scale degree 5, and then later in the measure, we had a lowered scale degree 5, so make sure you put that E flat back in your transcription. Now let's get set up for our dictation. Grab some staff paper and let's get set up. Today we'll be working in the bass clef. We will have a key signature of 2 sharps, and we'll be working in a time signature of 6/8. Our first pitch will be D3, and as always, we will have 4 bars of music. Now, before your first hearing, make sure that you have written in the key underneath that key signature, and make sure that you have put in your best guess for a last pitch. Today, we'll be hearing this played on a cello. As a brief reminder, here are some techniques that might help you. On that first hearing, make sure you get the first 3 notes and the melodic cadence. Always listen for anchor pitches. Those are going to be scale degrees 1 and 5. Pay attention to contour and listen for scale fragments and arpeggios. I recommend you work in real time using shorthand notation above the staff. Of course, you then have to go back and complete the proper notation, but you'll have extra time between hearings when you can do that. And finally, remember that you can use the connect the dots strategy to help figure out tricky leaps or difficult passages. Now here's your first hearing. Okay, so you should already have labeled your key underneath the staff. And you absolutely should have that last note confirmed on that first hearing. And hopefully you also heard the first opening melodic pattern, do, re, mi. Here's your second hearing. Okay, we've identified that the chromatically altered pitch is somewhere in measure 2. We can add a few more anchor pitches to our melodic transcription here to help us. There's a high scale degree 1 in the middle of measure 2, and the beginning of measure 4 starts on scale degree 5. Here's your third hearing. And here's your fourth and final hearing. Okay, let's work through this melody together. We know we are in the key of D major. And we heard the opening ascending Do, Re, Mi. It then jumped up to scale degree 5 and we came down a scale in a dotted rhythm. In the beginning of measure 2, we found our chromatically altered scale degree. We heard scale degree 6, raised 5 back to 6, followed by a jump up to our anchor pitch, scale degree 1. We then came down the scale in 16th notes. And then we heard another anchor pitch, scale degree 5, jumping back up to scale degree 1, which was followed by some descending thirds coming down to scale degree 6 and 4, or Do, La, Fa. From Fa, we descended a scale in dotted rhythms, and our final bar included a special pattern that has 2 thirds in it, a jump from scale degree 5 down to scale degree 3, and then scale degree 2 down to scale degree 7, ending on tonic. That final measure had the pattern of 5, 3, 2, 7, ending on 1. Here's tonic. The opening measure involved an ascending scale, Do, Re, Mi, a descending scale, Sol, Fa, Mi. Measure 2 began with our chromatic lower neighbor, La, Si, La, Do. We came down that scale, and then we heard our descending third pattern, Do, La, Fa. And the last bar pattern was So, Mi, Re, Ti, Do. Let's mark some of these features. We had an ascending scale. We had a descending scale from scale degree 5. We had a lower neighbor pattern with 6 followed by raised scale degree 5 back to 6 up to our anchor pitch of tonic. We then came down the scale 7, 6, 5, another descending scale. We heard our anchor pitches from So up to Do. We had our descending thirds, Do, La, Fa. We had another scale passage that came down at the end of measure 3, and we ended with the So, Mi, Re, Ti, Do ending. Let's sing the whole melody. Here's tonic. 4, 5, 6. Do, Re, Mi, So, Fa, Mi, La, Si, La, Do, Ti, La, So, Do, La, Fa, Mi, Re, So, Mi, Re, Ti, Do. Listen to the opening 2 bars. Now pay attention to the arpeggiation in measure 3. And listen to our closing pattern. Let's look at our final melody and listen to it one more time. Thanks for watching.